Hello and welcome to Gameweek 26 of the Premium Player FPL podcast. We're recording this just as the Liverpool game kicks off, 8 o'clock into Milan on a Wednesday evening. So hopefully there'll be no injuries there. Those who have brought in Salah this week, or if you Mindy jumped the gun and brought him in a week early. Transfer that probably didn't pay off this week, but I admire the balls to do it and actually go through what you say on the podcast for a change. So that was quite nice.
For a change, you're the one that doesn't stick to anything you say. You just come on here and chat breeze, and then actually do something completely different on a Friday. That's the Callum flex.
I did what I said I'd do. Brought in Sanchez and Ramsey. I brought in Jacob Ramsey. Yeah, inspiring transfers this week, but Sanchez got his clean sheet.
Just quickly on that, I feel a bit catfished by Villa. Like the Luca Dean, Ramsey, Watkins, they've all looked amazing, and then just as people have brought them in, they've just suddenly Villa are massively leaky. Ramsey's now playing deeper, and Watkins can't seem to get on the end of anything. That's
only been one game. Newcastle away.
What was the game before that? I swear that
Leeds 3-3. It was before that.
Yeah. So that's what I mean.
Beat Everton. True.
But
in terms of keeping clean sheet, yeah.
The Everton game catfished me, I think.
Right.
So conceding 3 to Leeds, and then anyway, let's not get distracted.
I suppose the other one. Yeah, we won't digress. But Ramsey is still very cheap, isn't he? 4 point.
Yeah.
So I think even if it's just playing every week, it's a bonus.
Yeah, it's just I was going through my transfers recently, and just can't remember my last good one. So yeah, Luca Dean's in there as one that's not really, another one that's not paid off. How was should we go into your week first? You had a better week than me.
Yeah, if you watch on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and obviously podcast platforms, please do the same.
If you've any of your mates that play FPL, recommend us as well. You don't have to worry about or if they start listening to Premium Player, then they'll beat me in my mini league, because the more they listen to Callum, the worse they'll do. So feel free to recommend away. You're not going to do yourself any damage.
Back of 2 top 5k finishes, I think, fine. It was a fluke.
Yeah, it was a fluke. This season is the fluke. No, I suppose this one is the anomaly of the 3. Go on, let's have it then.
Although the beast is now rising up to from the ashes up to lofty rank of 320k. So yeah, almost 100k rank rise, I think, this week.
At what point? How high does your rank have to be for you to start actually putting it on the podcast? Like advertising it on the stream. Like maybe when you get into the top 100k, will you then be like, all right,
probably.
I'm not scared of putting my rank on the stream now.
Give it a couple of weeks to have overtaken you, then then probably be in there. But I'll run through.
Embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You've got to own the losses and the wins. But anyway,
I'll run through my team anyway. Yeah, Sanchez in goal, good transfer this week, 8 points. Obviously, Ramsdale didn't play. No, he did play. The blanked. Yeah, they were due to play Chelsea, weren't they? So Dallo came through last night, 8 points. Digne, trolled me and you. Although I had him for the week before, where he did quite well. So yeah, I think I had him in 2 weeks. I mean, the Everton game, didn't I? Where he did really well. So you
can call him a troll, but I can't call him a fat catfish.
I was just joking. He's actually done quite well for me. Obviously, Watford's come at the weekend. Don't double, but yeah, nice fixture. It'll be interesting to see the point parity between those with a good single fixture and those. Obviously, United play Leeds as well. So yeah, interesting game week coming. Trent 6, everyone has him. Ramsey came in for Cancelo, who was benched. The weekend. I'm trying to think who we played. Norwich it was. Obviously, he was back in the Champions League team at the week on Tuesday. And yeah, City's another one. Single fixture this week. But played Tottenham, who've been beat 3 times, 3 in a row, and City will be playing the best team in that. So Cancelo, 0 chance he'll get benched for that. So for those who've got him, bit of a dilemma. Foden 8, Maddison 5, got an assist. Jota 1, Bowen 13. I haven't actually looked, but the past 5 game weeks, he must be top, right?
Yeah,
Players.
I think over the past 5, I think maybe since Christmas or something, I saw somewhere he's got more points than Salah. It might even be earlier than that. Like
he's not much
his
of
run's been amazing.
He's not much of a differential though. He could be this week because he's got single fixture, hasn't he, against Newcastle? So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Kane 2 and Ronaldo 20, captain, finally delivered after probably 8 weeks of having him. So yeah, that was nice. Kane, another interesting one, got chances again at the weekend. So the double to come. City obviously not a great fixture, but Burnley as well. Spurs fixtures. Spurs have really surprised me. I thought they'd kick on under Conte, but 3 defeats in a row now. Really surprising. I thought they would be nailed on for the top 4 a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it looks like Arsenal favourites, top 4 now. The defence is looking consistent. It's just whether they're scoring goals, I think, for Arsenal.
Yeah.
You were slightly cutting in and out a bit there. So if you've got like porn going on in the background, close down Pornhub. Any streaming?
That's bad here. I think it must be the wind.
The wind, fair. Yeah.
Amber warning in Manchester, mate.
Right, you pull in a clock blaming the wind for your performance.
Yeah. So yeah, rank rise 390 to 320, I think, which this stage of the season is quite nice. 74 points.
So a bad game week for me. There's not really a way of glossing over it, but I do feel quite lucky that it wasn't even worse. As I was saying to you before we started, Ronaldo could have had 2 or 3 goals. Bruno could have easily had 2 assists for the Ronaldo chances he was putting on. So when I was watching that game, I was quite relieved in the end that the damage was quite small, given that I took the gamble. So my transfer was Mount to Salah for free. And I just thought, I'm really not convinced on the United attackers. And I just didn't see Salah blanking, to be honest. After the way he looked in that half an hour against Leicester, I was convinced he'd get something. Didn't work out like that. I watched a bit of that game, and Burnley just seemed to do all right. Seemed to play well in the game. They were causing Liverpool's eye line some problems, so I don't know if Liverpool then didn't put the foot on the gas like they normally do because they were a bit gun shy, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's not often that Liverpool struggle. They usually bounce back quite quickly and come back with a vengeance. So it's not put me off. Not put me off my plans for Salah this week. Rest of my team, I had Sanchez for my goalkeeper. Picked up a save point yesterday from all the United shots after Dunk got sent off. Anyone else to mention noteworthy that you've not already mentioned? Dawson, last minute goal against Leicester. We said last week, didn't we? Leicester start games having already conceded 2 goals, and here we are. It was quite annoying because Dawson to score a header, it was something like 14 to 15 to 1 earlier in the week, and I had it in mind, thinking the way Leicester are at set pieces, that's a great bet. And then when I came to place it come Sunday after checking the team sheets, it'd come into like 8 to 1. People had already smashed it in, so I didn't go for it. And obviously it came in last minute. One of those annoying ones. It was like I was happy for my FPL team, but a bit of bet regret. And then I think
bet responsibly, kids.
Yeah, gamble.aware.org, is that the one we should mention? Or whatever it is. The rest of my team, Calvert-Lewin continues to disappoint. Watford look like they're never going to score a goal again, which I've got no hope really for King, even though he's got a double. Ronaldo, already mentioned.
There's still loads of teams with double at Watford attack, isn't there? Fucking terrible.
Yeah, I'd get if I had two, I'd probably get rid of. If I had two, I'd maybe bench Dennis and play King. Like bench, you've got to play the one who's gone pens, I think. But depending on the rest of your team, I don't know if I'd want to play both of them, even though they've got doubles.
No.
So
I
my
think you've
rank,
got to keep one just for the double. You never know, but yeah, two probably not.
So yeah, mine was a red arrow given the United players did haul. Well, not haul, but they returned. So red arrow from 107k to 120k. So it's not too bad really, considering I took that gamble. So yeah, overall can't complain.
Nice. We'll move on to the game week ahead. Obviously, last week was a double for United and Brighton, but now is where the big doubles seem to start. So these 8 teams doubling this week. You got Burnley, Spurs, Watford, Palace, Liverpool, Leeds, Arsenal, and Wolves. So yeah, where to start here? Would you say? Obviously, the
Only
caveat
one place to
being
start, isn't there? Triple captain Dan James.
the caveat here is, as I was talking about when I was doing my team, the single fixtures are quite nice. So
Yeah,
obviously you got Villa, City, Villa at home to Watford, City at home to Tottenham, but City's defense looks great against anyone. West Ham at home to Newcastle for Bowen. So 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was clear cut, wasn't it? Triple captain Salah, but now some teams are starting to look nice on the bench boost, and mine's one of them. So yeah, a bit of a decision to make now. I think comes game. I don't know what yours team.
Turn up for the Bucks, innit? Your team looking nice.
But I don't know how your team looks and whether it's affected your plans this week.
No, not really. I've got too much trust in my team, so I'm still pretty set on triple captain Salah and not playing the bench boost. But I can see why people have realised it can work for their teams, because especially if you bring in doublers and then you realise you're benching people like Bowen, Cancelo, Luca Dean even, it does make the bench boost look appealing. I just don't think it definitely doesn't work for my team. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I think if you are looking at that, you've got to look at like where else are the triple captain opportunities if you don't play it this week. So I think I sent you some stuff before. I didn't know with like other weeks where you could play the triple captain, but from looking at it, I just don't think there's going to be a better week for the triple captainship. Whereas there might be a similar opportunity for the bench boost later on. So I'm happy to stick.
But I think if you get the same points from your bench boost as a triple captain this week, when you look at Salah's fixture, I actually think that's for the bench boosters. Maybe that's controversial.
But then game week 36, which is lining up to be a bigger double than now, you could end up with a bench full of doublers rather than like most people who are considering the bench boost this week, they're going to have single players on the bench, aren't they?
Yeah.
So depending on how you play it, you could end up with a bigger bench boost score in game week 36. And it would be easier to have lots of doublers then because there's more teams doubling in that game week if the predictions are right by the gurus that be the Ben Crellins and Lego Manes and such.
So yeah, I'll read out my bench now, just for clarity, because I've already made my transfer this week. Shockingly, you'd be shocked.
Standard.
Just because Salah was going up. So my bench at the moment is Sanchez, Digne, Ramsey, and Dallo. Does that scream a good bench boost or not? Just because Villa have got Watford at home, obviously Dallo Leeds.
I think I can see Leeds scoring against United. Yeah. So, given the projections for the other big doubles, who do you think you would triple captain in the weeks where the big teams have doubles?
That's I think tricky. It probably would be Salah when Salah's double does come, because he will be due one, won't he, with the cup final?
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is that at the moment, even though it's pretty much City's title, Liverpool are still going all out for it. Aren't they? Still trying to win every game, every Premier League game, and put pressure on. Come the end, you don't know what. If City have run away with it, it's all tied up. They've lifted the title. Is Salah, because that's the other interesting thing about minutes, isn't it? Well, we'll come on to it now.
Yeah, I
These
thought I'd
two
put this on
fixtures,
screen. Yeah,
these two fixtures, Norwich and Leeds, even though he might miss minutes, they're just still so amazing. I think even if he just gets 110, 120 minutes over these two, that's still plenty, I think, in these two games. And I think they will prioritise Salah's minutes in this over the Carabao Cup game. I think they're more likely to play him against Norwich and Leeds than they are against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, I think.
really?
Even I know they're playing Chelsea, but Klopp's come under massive fire, isn't he? Sometimes for the teams he puts out in the Carabao Cup, he doesn't.
Yeah, no, I think that's the reason why he might play his best team. It's a final, isn't it? Liverpool haven't won that many cups over the past few years. Obviously, won Champions League, Premier League, but they've not done it to the same rate as City have, had they? So I think he might be benched in one of the Premier League games personally over the Chelsea game, but who knows?
But yeah, that is very likely. But if he comes on for 30 minutes against Norwich or Leeds, we saw the way he played against Leicester in the last 30 minutes. 30 minutes against a tired defence. Yeah, it's fine. So 90 minutes in one, 30 minutes in the other, 120 minutes of Salah. I'm happy with that personally.
Cool. I mean, at the moment, it's 50-50 call. I've not ruled out Salah completely. The other thing to talk about here would be, if it starts to work, is what you're going to do with United players, Leeds fixtures away.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, if they've got Bruno, that's the player they've earmarked for moving to Salah. If you can keep Bruno and still get Salah, then great. Because Bruno's looking. I mean, it's a small sample size, but it's starting to look better again. And first game of the season against Leeds, that's when he got his hat trick. Leeds tend to struggle with goal scoring midfielders. Was it last season? McTominay scored the brace against them. The way they mark with the whole man-to-man system, they just lose players running from midfield. So Bruno for this game, if you can, I'd keep. But Ronaldo, I've seen people saying that the way that Leeds play will Rangnick prefer Cavani over Ronaldo this game. Ronaldo's just played 90 minutes twice, and Rangnick's already shown
Champions League game as well. Yeah, coming.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a bit more energy with Cavani up front against Leeds. So I think of the two, Ronaldo's the hardest, the one I'd be more looking to sell. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, fully agree with that. I've actually sold Ronaldo already. I couldn't wait to get rid of him despite his goal yesterday. Yeah, for the reasons like you say, I think he's going to be saved for Champions League games now. But the only other thing is United still going for top four, aren't they? And it's a big call for Rangnick to not play Ronaldo and they get beat again. So who knows? Might potentially still play.
The other thing that we need to mention is the big team that everyone wants to target is Arsenal. Really, they've got the best double.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so hard to commit to what you're going to do because we've mentioned last week that Arsenal might have a double in game at 28 with Chelsea,
but blank in 27. Yeah.
But yeah, so depending on when that gets announced, if that gets announced before the game week deadline this week, that massively sways my decision because I'd potentially bring in another Arsenal player this week, then free hit next week, and then have the Arsenal players for those doubles come in. But if they don't, then yeah, it's not as clear cut because one thing I didn't quite appreciate about Game Week 27 and free hitting then is that Burnley also have a double then. So it gives you an opportunity to get three Burnley players in for their double, and then they're out for your team straight away. You don't have to worry about them. And you can crack on. Whereas bringing Burnley players in otherwise, I'm not that keen to do. So yeah, quite a bit for me depends on this Arsenal news, because the two fixtures they've got this week, you can see with their defensive record, you can see 2 clean sheets. So someone like Tierney could, 2 clean sheets and assists, and it's bumper return.
Their running now looks great, doesn't it? And obviously no cup competition as well. So you think the
other player that's interesting, just because there's so few strikers that are worth looking at, is Lacazette. He showed against Leeds and Norwich earlier in the season when there was also no other strikers to look at, and people brought in Lacazette. He delivered against Norwich and Leeds. He definitely did against Norwich. Maybe he just got an assist against Leeds, but through the virtue of there being nobody else, he's an interesting option if Arsenal do have all of these doubles, and it works with your chip strategy. So yeah, Lacazette's someone I'd maybe consider for Ronaldo in my team if that double news does drop. And we talked last week about it being annoying that Martinelli's gone, but Saka's still a decent option in midfield. He's been quite consistent this season.
Yeah, and then you've also got your Ben Whites and stuff. Security starts 4.5 million. If you've got defenders around that price, quite nice.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like Ben White's cheap, whereas
Tierney's more explosive. Yeah,
Tierney's got a bit more of that attacking potential. I guess in the middle of that, you've got Gabriel, who gets his head on a few corners, got some set piece threat. The other team that's interesting that I didn't consider but really before, well, I had considered it, but not that much, was Wolves. Because they don't have a blank in 30. So they could work for some people's strategies, bringing in a Wolves player this week, depending on when you want to use your free hit. Because their defense is obviously decent. Jimenez he's on pens for Wolves, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or is it Nev? Yeah, he's on pens. Maybe that goal against Tottenham has given him a bit more confidence. He hadn't been doing that great since Christmas, but apparently his stats were a little bit better against Tottenham. So there's options there at Wolves, I think. You could maybe go Burnley defender, Wolves striker, or the other way around. I don't know if we'll get clarity on Wout Weghorst. He was the one we were looking at last week, wasn't he? But
I've brought him in and Salah in last night, just because Salah was going up. Was it Salah was going up or Ronaldo was going down, despite the uncertainty around him? Yeah, I was just doing some Twitter research, and there was a few people saying it wasn't that serious. Watch him now being out with a cruciate ligament injury or something. But yeah, I just really fancied the Salah and Weghorst, and I was right on the money for it. And the way my season's going, what have I got left to lose? I could have been priced out otherwise.
Fair. I mean,
he's looked brilliant. He was great against Liverpool, wasn't he, before he got injured?
So there's 9 million players in the game, and you're ranked 300k. So you've still got a good 8 million places to lose. You know, and you say, what have you got to lose?
Well, if you're not in the top 100k, you're not really playing it, are you?
Fair. What about Burnley defenders? I think Tarkowski could be a shout.
Yeah, or me. Yeah, I'm not sure who's more of a threat at set pieces. He's not going to get too much from the fullback side.
It's Tarkowski, I think. Looking at the stats, he's the more attacking one.
Right. Yeah, they're not a team where you target the fullbacks, are they?
No, they're not. And the fixtures in Game Week 27 for Burnley, they've got Crystal Palace, who concede a lot at set pieces, and then what's the one after? Which is the second double for Burnley?
26-27.
And who? It's not showing it for me. What? Oh, Leicester. Yeah. So and Leicester, as we said, they concede from set pieces every week. So
Shocking. Yeah.
So Tarkowski, he could get 2 headers in the second double for Burnley. So yeah, I think he's an interesting option if people don't want to bring in an Arsenal player because Burnley don't have that problem with the blank. So yeah, there's lots of moving parts at the moment. It very much depends on when you're free hitting and when you're not, on who you want to target. But it's good that there's options and that people are doing different things.
Yeah.
Like, there's been so many weeks where everyone's got the same team and everyone's doing the same thing.
And I think the fact that there's some teams with a single fixture that have got great fixtures, I think that's going to add a whole different layer to this game.
We should talk about that.
You
actually.
stick with City, Villa, for example. City and Villa are the 2 ones that strike for me, and West Ham as well.
Yeah, so for me, any sort of plan which means I have to bench Bowen or Cancelo is a non-starter. I just think got to play them. Cancelo is just someone who you just never bench, I don't think. Tottenham, as you were saying before, they just don't look at it. Really don't look great defensively, especially, which is where they were looking good before. Whether it's taking a bit of time for the new players they brought in to settle and get on board, I'm not sure. But I think that linked to that, I wouldn't not really considering Tottenham players, even though they've got a double. Reguilon's a minutes risk. It doesn't seem to be playing competitive games in a row. Kane's just so much money for that. And Son, listening to what was I listening to? Planet FPL, he's a Spurs fan. He was saying that late on in the game at the weekend, there was moments where Son just didn't look fit. Like, as players were running with the ball towards him, he was sort of hinting, "Don't pass him the ball, I'm done."
Right.
I mean, given I think he had COVID, didn't he? And he had an injury, so maybe he's still getting back up to full fitness in that respect. So yeah, I'm not hot on Spurs players at the moment, especially with City being one of the double.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll move on to the godfather of FPL planning. While we're talking about subject, this is obviously Ben Crellin's talking about his transfer plans, isn't he? And he's a man who's been tempted by bench boosting for the reason that you say his single game week players will be, if he goes through with this, Sanchez, Cancelo, Bowen, and Fernandez. In that situation, it's probably a no-brainer, isn't it, to bench boost?
Yeah, if that was my bench, yeah, I'd be considering it. And then so it was. He mentioned somewhere where his triple captain options are, didn't he? Have you got that one?
Don't think I've got that.
Right. Because I'll quickly bring it up. But so what do you think? What do you think of that? Which of those, for people who are debating, which one?
I like this idea of not playing your free hit in 27.
Yeah,
it's good in the sense that you'll know the blanks that he says there. You'll know the blanks in game week 30 by then, so you've almost got an extra transfer on people who've played the free hit. That's something that goes in your favor of not free hitting, I think, in 27.
Fair. So yeah, I brought up the rest of that thread from Ben Crowley. So with that plan, he said that at the moment his triple captain choices would be Cancelo or Reece James in double game week 36. But yeah, the flip side of that is, as I was saying before, double game week 36 is maybe the week where there's more potential for the bench boost.
And I suppose 36, you don't know. City could have the title wrapped up by then. They could be going for Champions League. Yeah, interesting.
Oh, really? Yeah, true.
I mean, if my bench was shit like yours, you just obviously don't think about it. It's just when I see the likes of Digne, Sanchez at home to Burnley, like the only realistically I'm going to have a good keeper for another free hit is if a wild card into into a solid 15 players, don't I? So I suppose when a wild card, if I play my free hit, if I play my bench boost now as well, I'm going to have a better 11 than teams that kind of target a bench boost squad. But then when it gets to the end of the season, there's a lot of surprise benches and stuff, isn't there, when the positions are wrapped up?
So just while we're here, what's your plan for next week? Are you going to free hit or not that next week?
Not decided yet.
It's good content, that. Thanks for enlightening everyone with the solid FPL
insight. I think it depends for Arsenal, if Arsenal are doubling or not. Because if they double in 28, then I might get White in for Dallo, an extra transfer, take a -8, then free hit in 27, and then I've already got one Arsenal for 28. If that double isn't announced before the deadline, then I probably just keep Dallo on the bench, not bring in White for the double, whether bench boost or not, and then probably would free hit in 27.
Yeah, that's essentially what my decision boils down to as well. One other thing that's slightly tipping me towards doing that is City have Everton in 27. So it's a good opportunity on a free hit to have, Mahrez, Foden, or have free City for the game against Everton, as well as
especially if you know someone who's in with the squad and knows the team as well.
Yeah, so unfortunately, it's too professional to actually share any insight. But I rely more on the people who get the team news early on Twitter. You're not used to me.
Yeah, so I think it's going to come down to that, isn't it, for both of us, the Arsenal. So if save Arsenal are doubling in 28, what will your transfers be this week?
I think I would bring in Lacazette for Ronaldo, and then my three Arsenal players would be Ramsdale, Smith Rowe, and Lacazette, which I'd be happy with.
So you just have one transfer, yeah?
I'd maybe use one more because I've got Calvert-Lewin and I really want to get rid of Calvert-Lewin.
So it's a no-brainer for you if Arsenal get that 28. I think, do that and then free hit next week.
But then if not, then maybe I'd be considering like Weghorst, like you, or Jimenez. The other player we've not mentioned, who a lot of people are considering just quickly, is Broja.
Yeah, great.
Because he's got a good. Southampton's got great fixtures. He looks to be the favoured striker at the moment. And just looking at the ticker here.
So interestingly, they don't double 5 fixtures and the third in the list of fixtures. So that shows you how good the fixtures are.
Yeah. So for a lot of people, because so many people are sick of the striking options, like they're just looking at Broja as a cheap player who's like one of the best ones you can get. Might as well just go down to that price point and move what you want to do other stuff with your money. So the striking options are interesting, as in they're awful, but people are going for different ones depending on the chip strategies.
Yeah, another case for not free hitting in 27 as well and banking a transfer is, I think Arsenal's double is likely to be against Chelsea, isn't it, in 28 if it does get announced? And when you look at Chelsea's fixtures there, Burnley, Newcastle, Norwich, like those 3 fixtures plus a double, you're going to have 2 transfers there to bring in a Reece James or someone else like that. I almost forgot Chelsea were in the Premier League. It's been that long since they played a game.
When their good run starts, is that game at 28?
Yeah, but so it's Burnley, Norwich, Burnley, Newcastle, Norwich at the moment.
So I mean, some managers might use the wild card then to get 3 Chelsea players in for that run. It's another option.
Yeah,
I think you mentioned that last week, actually, didn't you?
Yeah, that was a potential option. Yeah, but I'm just concerned about how much carnage 30 is with the FA Cup. Like if you pay wildcard before then, you're still going to be in a predicament. But then I suppose that's what your other free hits for, isn't it?
there's also, I can't remember exactly why, but the other game week where there might be blanks is game week 33. So that's something to think about as well. I can't remember exactly why.
FA Cup semi, maybe? No?
Yeah, maybe. So you've got to think like in game week 27, game week 30 and 33 of those, if you've got 2 free hits left, of the 3, which one is more favourable? So yeah, I'd recommend like just going through the fixtures, looking at the spreadsheets that are available from Ben Crellin and such, and just working out which of those weeks is going to be the most punishing to your team, so you can decide what strategy looks best in terms of when you're on a free hit. It's too confusing for my brain to look as far ahead as 33 at the moment, which is why I'm not quite got the fixtures in my head for then. But I have heard it mentioned that's going to be a tricky week.
Interesting. I feel like we've talked a lot tonight and still not really talked about. still all up in the air, isn't it? Like I'm still on the wire.
Well, I mean, you've made transfers, so people have learned that you're an idiot. That's always good. You brought in a player that might be injured and a player who could get injured as we're live.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that could be catastrophic. Forgot about that. Yeah, but I
was meaning to say that people have learned your transfers. Like people know where you've.
I wanted to take Real, and I wanted Salah in, and when I looked at the price point at 6.5 striker, there's a real earth of quality. Weghorst was the one that stood out, so that was the reason why. But now you've mentioned it, Broha could have been a good shout as well. So yeah, could have had plenty of money in the bank. I don't know why I've gone early.
Well, so there's a lesson for you there, isn't there? Just come and talk to someone who knows a bit more about FPL before you make your transfer.
I'll talk to you in a few weeks, see what happens. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Before we wrap up, let's just quickly check we've not missed anything glaring for this double.
Take a look at Liverpool's score.
Leeds is obviously the worst double of this week. Who else might people be considering? I mean, what about Crystal Palace? Would you be considering anyone from them?
Well, Edouard was someone else who was at 6.5, but he's been rotated, hasn't he? A couple of last game weeks now. Gallagher, obviously Chelsea can't play this double, can he? The first leg of the double. Just not over enamored by any of their assets, really.
Yeah, it's hard to know who's going to get the most minutes from Crystal Palace.
I just like Weghorst because obviously the Burnley's double. They've come in and they've got a striker focal point. He played 90 against United, didn't he? After not much training, he started the Liverpool game, obviously injured. But I think, yeah, it's a lot easier to go for a team like that that's got a focal point up top. It's going to play more likely than not.
What was the Liverpool score?
0-0. Bayern Munich are getting beat 1-0. Interesting.
And Salah's not gone off injured, has he?
Not yet.
Not yet. So yeah, I can't think of anything else. I was just going to quickly look up what was going on in game week 33. Yeah, you were right. So game week 33 is FA Cup semi-finals weekend. So that's the other option for when people might want a free hit. So something to bear in mind before you make all your plans for spunking your chips up the wall. Yeah, that's it, I think, for me. So
yeah, I'm just going to try and save my chips for as long as possible, I think. Obviously, there's temptations there to get rid of them all in the next few weeks. But yeah, try and have a mindful eye.
You're going to use one this week, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to use one,
yeah.
But I mean,
you've got to play
27. You've got to play one this week, I think.
Yeah, you've got to play a chip. So we've told the listeners something. play a chip, but we're not going to tell you which one or which one's best. Just play any chip
Wildcard
this week. Yeah, it's between bench boost and triple captain for most people. Yeah, that's that. I think if the Arsenal news drops later in the week, we'll update what we're planning on Twitter. So follow us at premium_FPL to see what we're up to on Instagram as well. As Callum mentioned at the beginning, same handle, premium_FPL. If you're listening on the podcast, please head over to YouTube and give our stream a like and a sub. I would recommend actually that to people listening on the podcast, it is better if possible to consume the stream on YouTube just for the graphics and stuff that we show on the stream, the data and the having the teams up and the fixture tickers, etc. But yeah, that's it. Good luck with whatever chip you play this week, and let's hope that I continue to be ahead of Callum for the rest of the season. He seems to be building in confidence, which I don't really like. So yeah,
we'll see. Hopefully close the gap again this weekend.
Nice one. All right, we'll catch you next week.
In a bit.